Just a minute left. Just 1 minute left until Claire and I start recording. Just pouring myself some water, getting myself ready, doing what I need to doing what I need to do to feel ready for this episode. Got my prep in front of me. There's no electricity. Great. Standard procedure, South Africa. Standard procedure. And here we go. Let's call Claire. Let us do this. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I do not want to be disturbed at all. And let's do this. Let's rock and roll, baby.
What's happening? Can you hear me?
Hey, yo. I can hear you.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good on my side. On your side? Wait, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. I've got my earphones in. That's right. Okay. So that's the way you wanted to do it, hey?
No, without.
Oh, without.
Yeah. Prefer.
Okay.
Cool.
I misread that message. I'm glad I checked.
Yeah. No, 100%. Have you got them out now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
cool.
way better. First, before we get started, okay?
Yes.
Nicole says, if you ever see a stranger and like something about them or see something upsetting someone, it never hurts to go up to someone and pay them a compliment or see how they're doing, because it will make their day and they will remember you for a very long time. I know this doesn't make sense, but it will make sense at the end of the episode.
Okay, cool. I love that.
Cool.
Nicole.
Yeah.
Cool.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Are we rolling?
We are rolling. We're rock and rolling.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I try and keep these as authentic as possible.
Oh, amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
I love that. So, I'm doing good. I'm living in chaos, but I'm doing good. Today was pretty hectic. Man, I felt like I was running on a treadmill the whole day, but in a way it was also kind of fulfilling. So, yeah, this is kind of the pattern these days. But yeah, I feel accomplished, I guess. How are you feeling?
I also feel accomplished. I had a pretty busy day, but in a very slow way.
Okay.
And I got to nap, something that I don't do that often.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I got to nap.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was amazing. I was dripping in sweat, but nonetheless, it was still amazing. Had therapy. That was great. That was great.
Nice.
And what else am I leaving out? Then I prepped, and then I had to go back. Because during the weekend I was struggling to reflect on how we would relate with one another. So then today I was like, oh yeah, I need to do that. In terms of structuring the episode and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, but I wasn't really worried because when we rock and roll, we rock and roll. But
I was about to say, and the thing is with you and I is actually we are very similar people.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to dive into that now, but I think cognitively the way we unpack things, we're quite similar.
Very, yeah. That's crazy because I have that written down here on my prep.
I'm mad. Okay. We are going to get into that. Eh?
Now we're definitely going to get into this. This is going to be one fire episode.
Okay, I love it.
So, okay, instead of asking who are you, because I usually just ask very generic, who are you, tell me about yourself. I want to ask who are we, as in you being you and I.
Who are we?
Yeah.
So do you want me to give a brief description on you, Kgothi?
I think
I
take
feel
it.
like I shouldn't be describing other people.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how you interpret this, but let's hear what you got.
Okay. Well, what? Me describing you?
Now, who are we?
Who are we? What do we have in common? Okay, that's what I'm gonna go.
Yeah, go
at.
Yeah.
Okay. Where I think we align, right? Where there's overlaps, and I'm also taking this from everything I knew from you at university, and I know there's been a lot of evolution on your side, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I know about both of us is we have the same type of intellect, where we very kind of like philosophical and also very fascinated with human behavior and the way people think. And we love to unpack things. We look at nuances in other people. We see layers. We see complexities. And these are the type of conversations we would always have, and why they would flow so well, I think, is because we were similar in that way. And I mean, obviously I could get into like more generic things, but I think sometimes, like, I'm not talking about personality, but maybe just more the way we think. I think that's where you and I overlap a lot. Like, we're never going to have like the same hobbies or whatever, or maybe we will. I mean, let me not say never. But yeah, I guess that's the way I interpreted your question.
Cool, good. That's the way I wanted it.
Okay.
Cool. Now, where do we differ?
Oof, that's a very good. That's a very good point. I think you're sweeter than I am.
Really?
Yes, I think you're friendlier than I am.
Okay.
I think you have a certain aura about you. You have a warmth. When you enter a space, people gravitate towards you. They want to be around. And wait, let me not like be self-deprecating either, because I think people gravitate towards me, but in a very different way.
Yeah.
You have that, like, you envelop people. Mm-hmm. Sorry, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
That conversation, yes, I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah.
You envelop people. And I think the way you carry yourself is light, even though you've got all these complexities going on in your head. Whereas I think I carry myself with like a bit more intensity.
Yeah.
And I think my interactions maybe, so I think that's where we differ, is maybe not the internal, but the external, the way we like perform in the world.
Yeah.
And maybe the way people perceive us. I think there's a slight kind of difference there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah. From my side, I agree with the similarities.
Yeah.
Where we differ, how do I put this in words? So okay, where we differ, I feel that sometimes, and this is not like, I'm not criticizing you, I feel that sometimes you are very inconsistent. And
you are a consistent person.
And I'm very consistent. And that was like very confusing for me, I'd say, the first few months of getting to know you.
Yes.
Because I think once I find people interesting, for me it's go, go, go. There's no pause.
Yes.
Where with you, because you made the move. Like, you stopped me outside the library.
Yeah.
And then you started the conversation. But then in terms of upkeep and, keeping it going, it died. Like, I would see you on campus, hoping that you remember me, and then you're just like, walk past, and then I'd be like, and then there was a moment.
Kills me. That kills me. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
I think it kills me because it's true.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: is this is not like a unique stance on my behavior. Like, this is, people tell me this all the time.
Yeah.
And I think there's a difference between people who, regardless of where they are mentally, their behavior is consistent. They choose to be consistent, like, in the way they engage.
Yeah.
I've never been able to do that. My head's here, my head's there. I think it's a bit of the ADHD, but it's definitely a little bit of flakiness on my part as well. And the irony is it's got no correlation to how much I care about a person or how intrigued I am. It's got everything to do with, like, some days I'm very inward, some days I'm very outward.
Precisely.
And half the time I don't even know what's going on in my surroundings.
Yeah.
So, but I can completely understand how that must, how you experience that interaction. It must have been so, like, confusing. And I apologize for that. I mean, that's not great,
It's cool. Because, okay, I mean, later on, I had gathered that, like, oh, that's just Claire. The first time I was like, bro, that's personal.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, because then later on, I think there was a Friday where I went out. I think I saw you at, what's this place called again? If it's not Rat, it's 37 on New.
Okay, yeah.
And I think it was like techno nights or something. Saw you. So, like, bear in mind, I saw you, but then I in my head, I told myself, oh, like, it's probably not a good idea going up to, go greet you. Because in my head, you've kind of, like, just forgotten about me. Boom, boom, boom. You see me, you're like, Kgothi! I was like, what? It's the most confusing thing ever. But then, because I like paying attention to detail, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I treat people like test subjects. I thought like, oh, you're an interesting case study. And and then I was really curious, like, who are you, man?
I know.
Yeah, because one moment you're there, one moment you're there, and then the other moment you're there. So I've found that, like, really, really interesting. So I was avoiding walking through how, like, we met, but, like, I'm glad, like, it organically happened, right?
No, I'm glad you did that. And I feel like that's a very interesting thing you brought up, is that you are very consistent. And I think it does come down to how people navigate the world. And I think for me, a big thing is that I live in the present moment. So anything it's almost like a child, like, and I think I'm not blaming my ADHD for this, completely on me.
Yeah.
But, like, a child, one of their developmental milestones is object permanence.
Yeah.
So when something's removed from their field of vision, they believe that it's permanently gone, right?
Yeah.
So I don't obviously believe that, but all my attention, and everything that I, like, kind of know, not obviously like when I'm sitting alone on my bed at night when there's nothing stimulating me, but, like, when I'm out doing whatever, it's whatever is in my field of vision, the conversation that's at hand, like, that is where my focus is at. And I think it took me a long time to realize that other people, it doesn't work like that for other people. So, yeah. But at the same time, I feel like we did have a good friendship, even if it was a little bit tumultuous.
Yeah, it was. It's actually interesting that you say that, because we obviously spoke on Friday, the 24th of November.
Yes.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. But, and I was reminded that, like, the way you approach people with so much curiosity and, like, this very childlike demeanor, energy. And that I found interesting. Because, and I think that's also like where we're very much similar.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it like, oh no, hence why I didn't say childish, I said childlike. Because yeah, it isn't a bad thing. And I think when I'm around you, like there's less pressure to be perfect. Which,
I'm glad you feel that way. I feel that way about you. You know?
Yeah.
Even if you're analyzing, doesn't mean you're criticizing. That's the other thing, because I also treat everyone like case studies. That's where you and I do overlap, to come back to what we said earlier.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean, you know, even if you like take something in and you notice, like, Kgothi is XYZ, doesn't mean that you like giving an emotion to it necessarily.
Precisely.
You just like being like, oh, I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I noticed that. I acknowledge that. And that's the thing, because like going back to feeling safe or whatever, like for me, like my opinions felt very safe around you. And it felt as if like we could interpret everything layer by layer by layer by, like, kid you not, I don't know what to call it a mind orgasm if you will, but
yeah.
Yeah, which then brings me forward to talking about antinatalism, or I think another big... another big factor.
Let's chat about it.
Yeah, let's chat about it. Another big factor was when you brought it up, and I was like, good heavens, this person's really interesting. Because at the time, I felt really negative. I felt like really negative feelings towards like your stereotypical nuclear family. I wasn't too keen on bringing kids into this world. Mind you, the previous year that Uyinene thing happened, I was just so bleak about kids. Now I'm like obviously curious, where do you currently stand with that? But maybe I think it would be a good idea just to briefly talk about like what antinatalism is.
So maybe let me talk about what antinatalism was for me.
Yeah.
So there were many reasons. So obviously antinatalism comes down to the belief that people need, like, this is going to sound maybe too forceful, but that people need to stop having children, or really need to slow down having children. Family planning, I guess, is kind of more the softer word, more diplomatic word that's used for it these days, I guess. But antinatalism for me was rooted in very much like what you were saying, kind of these very stereotypical, generic patterns that people were following. Everyone's life, I guess, generations back, sort of had like a set linear pattern.
Yeah.
You know, you come out of school, at that time people weren't really like going to uni, which is, you know, and these days, once again, there's so many choices of all these different things you can do. But people would come out of school, they would get their job, they would get married, they would have offspring, have children. And just for those listening out there, I say offspring actually enduringly. Even call my family members that. But yeah, and I just felt that everyone following that pattern, I mean, we claim that we're such evolved beings. I found that in a way off-putting. And I think that's where mine started, but it started deeper than that, and I have chatted to you about this before. Like, as you know, I'm big into environmentalism.
Yes.
I'm a vegetarian. I practice a lot of things. I don't use plastic, all the kind of bullet point things, right?
Yeah.
And one day I think one thing that people don't bring up often, and that I bring up often, is one of the biggest kind of challenges that we face going forward with the degradation of the environment is the fact that there's too many people on the planet. And I think I've spoken to you about this, right? Yeah. And just general overpopulation, like the planet is absolutely saturated. And when I was going down this rabbit hole, when you and I were chatting about this, these thoughts were also very much in their infancy. Like I was only really becoming an environmentalist then. And I think I've really had time to mature in my beliefs subsequently. But yeah, I think that was a big thing for me. And as a feminist, I mean, there were so many things. Like, as a feminist, it was like, okay, now there's so many changes. Women have careers. Like, why is it still so much pressure to have children? I think there were so many factors at play with why I was such a big antinatalist. And I guess I was a kind of very specific type. Then we came out of university back into kind of a more, it's a different, you know, I think at uni as well, there's a very specific discourse. And in a way, and I love it because it kickstarted all of my ideas, but in a way, it's a little bit more radical than when you are, you know, just in Joburg or in big cities in general.
Yeah.
And I also like want to just disclaim, I'm not using radical in a negative way at all. But everything is a little bit heightened. Anyway, when I was kind of moved back to Joburg and started my job and whatnot, and I had like close female colleagues working with me that had kids, and they would speak about the joy that these children brought to them and stuff like that. I think there was an aspect that I was never considering, is the fact that, hey, children actually do bring joy to people's lives.
Right?
Like, that's not pseudo knowledge. Like, that is true. And I found like that kind of warmed my heart a bit and maybe diluted the intensity of where I previously stood, you know? And yeah, I think then there was also a bit of a flip with, I made a joke the other day. Sorry, I just swore on your podcast.
No, swear, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So I made a joke the other day because obviously AI is a big conversation, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the things, even back then, I mean, AI wasn't like on the tip of our tongues when when were we talking about shit like this? 2020, I guess, 2019.
Yeah, 2020, somewhere there.
AI was definitely like there, but it wasn't the conversations we're having now about it, you know?
Yeah.
And I made a joke the other day because, like, obviously one of my biggest arguments was like feminism and new purpose and this lateral way of living. It doesn't have to be that way. And then AI came into the picture. And now there's all this talk of like all of us becoming redundant because it's going to take over our jobs and shit. And, you know, I guess it is very doomsday. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it is one of the potential things that can happen.
Yeah.
And I think I generally laugh when I talk about it because I don't want to, you know, kind of give too much weight to it. But it is a conversation worth having. And so the joke the other day was I was saying, you know, if AI does come in and takes over our lives, makes us redundant, rips our careers to shit, then maybe I'm just going to move to a little tiny town in the hills and like, or just like in the middle of nowhere and have these children. Because if my purpose, if all these conversations I've been having is about this newfound purpose with careers and all of the stuff, if that's taken away, maybe I need to go back to the basics.
Right.
Generations back, you know? So, yeah, I guess I stand, my feelings are more, there's more of a dichotomy these days. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. So last year, my landlords had a baby. And
yes.
It didn't change then. So, for me, around 2019, 2020, I was feeling, let me start with 2018. By the way, thanks for sharing.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing. For, I think,
Cool.
2018, I started exploring not being in a monogamous relationship. Mainly out of curiosity to see how it would work. I had a girlfriend at the time, from back home. Then it became long distance because I went to uni. Did my first year in Stellenbosch. And then I kind of started, feeling really attracted to one of my neighbors. I feel like I'm revealing too much. But anyway. And I was like, flip, why not open this relationship? So then I had 2 girls on my plate.
Okay.
Cool. Then shit hit the fan. Broke up with my girlfriend. And then things kind of just went sour with the other girl. Then I met this other girl. And then I think a week later, then I met another girl. And I led both of them on. And I was like, wait, man, why don't I just tell them about each other? So I told the one about the other, then I told the other one about the other. So they knew that there was someone in my life. There was someone in the picture, and they were okay with it. I was like, whoa, this is manna from heaven. Wow.
Shit.
Cool. Then that's when the curiosity just to break the stereotypical nuclear whatever, just the stereotypical things that we see. I was like, okay, cool, I'm breaking it. But I mean, like any other university student, that's what you're keen to do.
Yes.
It's like your first year out of home for a very long time, whatever. Cool. Get to second year, I'm at Rhodes. Now this is fuckboy Kgothi.
Oh, I love it.
This is fuckboy Kgothi. Fuckboy Kgothi says no relationships this whole year. We're just fucking around, or messing around. And I had an alter ego, right? That alter ego had a name, and I specifically remember saying, do you listen to Brent Fayez?
To what? Sorry?
Brent Fayez. Do you know the artist? No?
Why does that sound familiar? But it's not conjuring up anything specific, but it does sound familiar.
Cool.
Oh, a musician artist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no. I feel like I might have a song, but yeah. Was there a lyric that inspired your fuckboy alter ego's name?
All his songs. All of them.
All of them?
All of them.
Nothing specific?
All of them. I could relate with his music from all his albums at the time.
Amazing.
Right? Cool. And I was very clear with whoever I interacted with that, listen, I'm not serious. You are meeting someone who's not too keen on being serious. So, bada bing, bada bang. Right? Do with it what you will. Right? And most of the time, the girls were keen. Like, cool. No labels, whatever. Get to 2020. And now, I don't know why, I start thinking about, family. And then the Uyinene thing happens. And I was like, actually, no. I don't want a family.
Yes.
I'd just like to live like a bachelor for the rest of my life. And... and just enjoy. Oh, flip! I forgot the actor's name. He was like, flip. Okay, cool. I forgot his name, but that he also inspired me to be a bachelor throughout my whole life.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then we get to 2020.
You're not talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, are you?
No, not DiCaprio.
I was about to say, Kgothi, please tell me you're not referencing DiCaprio.
No, not DiCaprio. I can't even remember any of his movies. But he always he's in this espresso ad on TV.
Oh man, the hot old guy. I mean, he's not hot, but people would say he's hot.
He is old.
Yeah, no, I can't remember. Sorry. But,
yeah, also,
but people will know.
People will know.
Yeah.
Tip of the tongue. I just don't remember his name that easily. Anywho, cool. Then, still 2020, COVID hits us, right? Slaps us right on the face. And now, because I'm intense, I start thinking, and I'm like, actually, I'm not being fair with myself over here. I'm like, dude, you're very much a father type.
I was about to say, I didn't want to interrupt your story, but I have a lot of things to comment on. Carry on.
I was like, you're very much a father type. How could you, like, you have a lot of love to give. How could you not want to do that, right? And then I start unpacking, and taking out the weeds and doing whatever I need to do. And eventually, like, I got to the conclusion that I actually do want a family. I'm lying to myself. Then, cool, fast forward to last year, my landlords have a baby, and just like witnessing that, just seeing all of it, right? I was like, yeah, that's what I want. That's exactly it.
I feel like it needs to be for you. You know what? You're not George Clooney. I just remember his name.
George Clooney. There we go.
Yes, you're not George Clooney. You're okay. Can I ask a question? Sorry, I know we're going off topic,
okay.
But here's my thing.
Okay.
I need to know: did non-monogamy work for you? And there's a reason I'm asking, because I never would have thought it was for you.
I left feeling satisfied.
Okay.
I'll tell you why it worked, and I'll tell you why it wouldn't work in the future.
Yes.
Not that I'm willing to try it. It worked because there was distance. I wasn't really emotionally attached.
Yes.
There was
yeah.
Yeah, there was proper distance, so it was very clear. It was compartmentalized. It was arguably a release from all the study stress and everything. Then, why I don't think it wouldn't work in the future is because I need to feel connected, and if I have to like serve two masters over here, it wouldn't work, because going back to consistency, I don't think I wouldn't be able to be consistent with two people and then have time for myself as well. It just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like I would be able to do that. And considering that I'm someone who likes spending hours and hours with my person, it just, I don't know, it would drain me, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it worked in a university context because we're all studying.
Yeah.
So if someone says I'm studying, I'm busy, cool. But then, I don't know, I feel like it's different when you have a work life, and like people really need to feel prioritized. And if I can't offer that for the one, it's just gonna blow right in my face. So it's a nay from me, and I don't think I'd visit that ever again.
Yeah. Look, I applaud people, and I also know it takes certain characteristics and personality traits that I just don't possess myself. But you see, I'm like you in the way that I think, and it once again does come back to how people feel connected. That's a big thing for me, as if I'm like connected to another person.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be the only person they're connected to as well. Maybe that sounds possessive to some people, fair. But to me, that just, you want that bond to kind of feel just between the two of you type of thing.
Yeah.
I guess that is for me.
Yeah, precisely, yeah.
Yeah.
Then,
yeah, okay. I'm interested. I needed to hear like where you were at with that, because that's interesting.
Yeah. So currently where I am, I want a family.
Okay, I love that for you, and I do think you would be an amazing father. I really do.
Thanks.
I feel like
Yeah.
You would put in a lot of effort, a lot of energy. You would raise emotionally intelligent kids. And I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like you have all those right qualities for good parenting. And I think your child would also just feel seen, dude. And that, that's so interesting because I was talking to someone about that the other day as well. Like, parents are trying to do the most for their kids, except understand them. And I'm like,
oof.
That little kid, all they actually wants is to feel seen, right?
Oof.
That's all they want.
That's it. Not
all
much.
All they want is for bonding.
That's literally it.
Yeah. No, it's mad. And I know you would give that to your child. So I'm excited. I also think your child would be so fucking cute. So cute. Yo, I can't wait.
Oh, flip.
It would be so cute, dude. Yo. I can also imagine you like taking that child out. You know these parents these days, they take their children out and they do like a whole like fun photo shoot where like, and then they do Photoshop afterwards and it looks like the kid's like flying in the clouds or whatever. Like, I feel like you would need to do that with your child.
100%.
Like,
you know, just like I would do that, have like a sneaky photo shoot with them, and then paint their room with like pictures from the photo shoot.
Cute. I love that.
I would 100%. I would have. Cool then. Cool then. On that note,
yes,
I would like us to revisit the conversation we had on your front porch.
Absolutely.
But before we get into it, let me just quickly paint the picture. I was going for a run, and I jogged past Claire's apartment house. What was that?
Yeah, it was like a house, but compartmentalized into little apartments. Yeah,
cool. I jogged past and I saw her drive in, and then I was like, "Hey, Claire." It was quite dark, so you couldn't see me properly. I was like, "It's Kgothi," and then you're like, "Dude, come in." Cool. And then we sitting at your porch, and then from there, how much do you remember from that conversation?
Look, I have a bad memory.
I know you do.
And the thing is, I will remember actual things that you and I have said to each other, but I will never be able to place them on a day, at a time. They all just kind of blend together.
Okay.
So, So I think it will jog my memory. Maybe you can give us a bit more context. And I can,
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I can. I remember every single detail.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I have a very good memory. It's absolutely shocking. Cool. So I come in, and then you ask like, isn't it a bit too late? Is it fine? Should I drop you off? I was like, oh no. I want to run back. Cool. We sit on your porch, and you have a smoke. You okay with me telling people that you smoke, right?
Hey, yes, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. You have a smoke, and we're sitting over there, we're chatting, and then we start talking about, because we were going to do like a YouTube channel. I don't know. Do you recall?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Then we start talking about that, and then we were just talking about like, okay, cool, now we're in the same area. There's no need to like have it on Zoom, because essentially what we were going to do, we were going to have it on Zoom, show both of our faces, and then upload it, and then we're like, okay, cool.
Yes, I remember
exactly.
this,
and then I was like, wait, your porch is it's like a perfect spot for this, right? Because I was like,
why didn't we do that? Sorry, I'm not like, I want to get into it, but like, why didn't we do that? We should have.
Yeah, I was down, and I think because like you Journ students would go to the department where my schedule was really flexible. I did most of my studies at my place.
Also, also, I think we were at the department for like 14 hours a day. So.
Exactly. Like you were at the department the whole day, and then had like a few hours to be a human again. So it didn't end up working out. But it was going to be so sick. Anyway, it because I was like, oh wait, you're a Jones student. Like, can't you like hustle a camera, and then like we just do this thing. Cool, fine. We start talking. And then I don't know who brought it up. Cool. Wait, who brought it up? I did.
Yes.
And then I was like, okay, I'm not trying to beat around the bush here. There's chemistry between us, right? You say yes.
Right.
And then I'm like, wait, you feel it, right? I don't wanna like look like a fool over here. And you like confirm, you say yes. And I'm like, I like you, right? And then you're like, I like you. I was like, whoa, game changer. Game changer.
I'm laughing. I love the story.
Right?
Yes.
Game changer. I'm like, wait, what? It's like, and you just like kept that information to yourself. Like, who do you think you are? And crazy enough, because like we were working together, so we were basically like we were colleagues.
Yes.
A lot of the people around us had like noticed it, right? That like what's going on between.
I think it was obvious.
Yeah, it was very obvious. Like it was very obvious. Like the meeting would start, I'd sit on your lap or vice versa.
Yeah, we were very affectionate.
Very, very affectionate.
We were very affectionate.
Right?
Yeah.
In the meetings, very affectionate in the meetings. Yeah, so I mean people had asked and I didn't want to be Dululu, right? I like when people so I mean I knew that I liked you, but because people observe and they're like, nah, Clay likes you, I was like, nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Yes, I'm also like that with people when they say that.
Right?
Because
people
also want to hype things up and then you're not sure.
Exactly. Yeah. People want to hype things up. Gideon as well, I'm pretty sure he won't mind me mentioning this. By the way, I told Gideon, I was like, oh, guess who's my next guest? He asks, Claire. I'm like, yep. He's like, I'm listening to that one. So if you want to send
I love that. Hi,
Gideon. So yeah, I send you a shout out. So then Gideon's like, yo, bro, it's very clear. You two like each other. Are you going to do anything about it? I was like, this is unfair. Well, why don't you ask her? So yeah. Cool. I hope I jogged your memory.
Yeah, you did.
Cool.
You did. And it's weird. Now I remember so much of that. And I think what's so interesting is coming back, I want to just like loop this around to something that was said earlier about my consistency.
Yeah.
Is when I have feelings for someone, 9.9 times out of 10 they don't know because they think, because I'm inconsistent, then they'll have a feeling I'm into them, and then they'll feel like a few times after that when they've seen me, it confirms that I'm not interested in them.
Yeah. And
it's just not, I just don't know how I like come across.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that like, I definitely knew you were interested in me. Sorry to be that guy.
Wait, what?
But I definitely knew you were keen on me before we had that conversation.
Are you serious?
Yes, definitely, because once again, you're consistent, and I felt like I felt your interest.
Yeah.
Obviously, I couldn't be 100% sure. And, like, in the same breath, obviously, I was eventually going to say something because, like, you ran past and I invited you in. You know? I was like, I'm an opportunist. I've always been an opportunist. I don't plan shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. Now is the better time than any.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you said that and I was like, okay. I mean, I don't mask things. Like, let me just say it how it is. Even though, like, look, uni, I was not in relationship headspace.
Yeah.
Even if I completely liked someone, I was like, I cannot.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never, I had a boyfriend in high school, but, like, not really. high school sweethearts are like, it's very juvenile. At uni, I felt like there was weight to things I felt, and I didn't even know how to like enter into a relationship. Like, I never had a relationship the whole of university. Just didn't know how.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's interesting is like, I was like, you were one of, I think about 3 people, maybe 4 people that I was really interested in at uni. And like, I would say 2 out of those 4 people never even found out, because I was like, what happens when I tell them?
Yeah.
Then what next? If they like me, then something has to happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's the general course, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, just because I feel these things doesn't mean I want to or know how to embark on something. So, but you caught me off guard, so I was like, okay, I'm going to just share. And I think that was in 2020, hey? I mean, that was COVID and all sorts.
It was 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, it was wild. But that was such a nice day on my porch. And I feel like my nervous system was just so calm. And we just chatted. And then I don't know if I was weird afterwards, because I normally do get weird. But maybe tell me from your perspective how our dynamic was.
So, our whole dynamic, or our dynamic after we confessed?
Maybe afterwards. Because, I mean, I feel like we've painted a picture of our dynamic, right?
Yeah. So, afterwards, you... Okay. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I'd say, like, maybe the next Friday or something, you were out. Then you texted me.
Yeah.
You texted me. And this is how I knew, like, okay, Claire's intoxicated. Cool. You send...
Yeah, continue.
You send a voice note. Hi, Kgothi. Okay, then you, like, send that voice note. Then you start texting. What are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
Question mark. That time, I'm making pasta in the kitchen. The TV's on. I'm watching, what do they call this? True Detective.
Yo, the fact that you even remember what you're watching, that's so
Like,
scary.
Dude, I will remember.
Your memory, dude.
Dude, every single detail.
Me.
Right? Cool.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
Okay.
So, like,
That's mad.
the lounge and the kitchen were connected, so I could watch TV while cooking.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Watching True Detective, making pasta, got some red wine over there. Cool. And you send the text message. Game changer. And then I say, just watching movies. What about you? And then you send a voice note. And you say, dude, you should come out. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. A few days ago, we just spilled our feelings on the table. And then a few days later, you're like, come out. I'm like, you think I'm not going to take that opportunity? I'm 100% taking that opportunity. Cool.
Yeah.
I make the pasta. I eat. I down the wine. So I just wanted a buzz.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm like, yo, fuck you, True Detective. I don't need you. Go upstairs. My room is upstairs. Go upstairs. Take a shower. Put my clothes on. And I'm like, let's go. And then, I got there at right. Walked up. You gave me a kiss on the cheek. Then you introduced me to all your friends. Then you were distant the whole night.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm weird.
Which I found really strange, because you were distant, and then quarter to me leaving, you're like, no, where you going? Come with us to Fry's. That was so confusing. I was like,
Imagine.
I was like, okay. But I did anyway. I came with you guys. So I wouldn't necessarily say you were weird, but I mean, I think over the period, you slowly started detangling, letting go. Then we lost contact. Then I don't know. Then I don't know. I started looking elsewhere. In actual fact, one of the, I think one of the people, you do know them. She was in your class, but I'm not gonna spill her name over here. Yeah, but I think also like I'm very confrontational. So like if I see someone I like, I don't waste time. It's
Fair enough.
So I'll plant a seed. I'll make sure that there's chemistry, or I'll check if there's chemistry. Then I will make sure that the chemistry stays. Hopefully you do the same in return. Cool, do that. Then I'll tell you straight up, like, listen, this is how I see you. This is the way I see things. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So I'm not afraid to shoot my shot.
I know, and that's something that's always impressed me about you.
Yeah, I will.
I think what's interesting is listening to everything. Obviously, like, what you know about me, also know about me as a 21-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like, and I'm so grateful that I've come a long way, because I think I would feel confused and inconsistent, and so I would project that confusion and inconsistency. I would want you to be there, and then you would be there, and then I would feel scared of a situation. Like, and this would happen with anyone I was interested in. And I feel like, so I had my first successful relationship last year. Coming into this year, it was about 1 year and 6 months.
Oh, you and I both. Okay.
Yeah. And it was a very beautiful relationship. Look, I don't think ultimately we were compatible, but I think it was beautiful. I learned so much about, and you know what, I also realized beforehand that I completely had commitment issues, completely.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about stability, maybe not consistency, but I also think it's interesting the way in which we define that. Like, I'm a lot more consistent now, as in a person will always know where they stand with me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be distant or whatever. I'm going to be inconsistent in the fact that I'm still super spontaneous, and my plans change from 1 minute to the next. Like, quite turbulent, but consistent in people know where they stand, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'm glad we had this conversation, because in a way it makes me reflect back to a person I was and how far I've come as well.
Precisely.
And like, I think from this person, this 25-year-old wants to apologize for that, because, you know, and I'm not, it's definitely not an excuse, but it was coming from my headspace.
Yeah.
The way I didn't know how to deal with things. So I would just be chaotic and all over the place. And now I think, as a wiser person, even though it's only been 4 years, I feel like I've digested a lot in those 4 years and experienced. I'm like, shit, that was probably pretty, like, not great for Kgothi, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so glad we can have this conversation now, because it's also good to reflect back. At that time, you never would have asked me, you know, what's going on in that brain. Like, because we're also like trying to protect ourselves here, and we don't want rejection, we don't want whatever, and both of us are feeling that.
Yeah.
But like years later, it's so nice to unpack and be like, whoa, this perception I had wasn't exactly, you know, what was actually happening in that person's head. It was actually something else. So
right. Yeah,
sorry,
exactly. Yeah. It's I mean, it's always really like nice just reflecting years later.
Love.
Like I'm a sucker for that. I can sit back and talk about something that happened years back, and just do that whole thing of unpacking each layer and every layer. Because the way you see it now, like you said, you're 25, the way you see it now, and then you're like, geez, I did that when I was 21. Yo, we've come so far.
Yes.
Now, here's a very unnecessary interlude. I present to you my voice once again, but this time with no one to interact with. Now you ask yourself why. Why am I just hearing your voice? Kids, let this be a lesson. Do not ever edit a podcast episode on 0 hours of sleep while traveling. Do not ever do that to yourself, okay? Because guess what? I lost the last 10 minutes of my episode with Claire. I feel like dipping myself in cow dung and be like, wake up. Oh, actually, why am I being so hard on myself? Okay, on a much more serious note, I misplaced the last 10 minutes of our episode, and it was incredibly wholesome. We had this beautiful moment, but what I'm gonna do is call Claire again and try and record the question that I asked her, and hopefully I might get the same answer. But I'm also open to not getting the same answer because, it's a brand new day and I don't necessarily expect a scripted answer. So I'm going to call her and then I'll add it just after this. All right. Thank you for enjoying my voice once again. Tries to insert goodbye in another language, but brain is busy farting due to 0 hours of sleep. Okay. Listen, Claire, I am. Let me first start with. I'm sorry. Okay.
Don't even stress, man.
Yo, dude, I was panicking. I got 0 hours of sleep, and I thought that it was a good idea to edit in that state, right? And
Yes.
cool, blah,
Yes.
blah, 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 blah. And then Kgothi checks and he's like, wait, where's the last 10 minutes? I was like, no, that's the most important. No! So...
That's actually the best part.
Right?
You can't recreate that, but it's fine. I'm going to try my best.
Yeah, no, don't. You know what, Nat? Let's not script it. If something organic just comes out, even if it's like 4 words, it's fine. So I've got a Zoom meeting at 7. So I definitely am not here to camp. Don't worry. So thanks
amazing.
Thanks for understanding. You are an absolute legend.
No, listen.
Yeah.
I have hiccups all the time with my stuff. Like, I would never judge someone for that. Like, literally, that kind of shit happens all the fucking time and doing this stuff. So I get it.
Thanks.
Yeah. No stress.
Thank you.
Okay, amazing.
Cool. So let me I remember the question. So I said, if you had to have a conversation with University Claire, what would you say to her? Starting with, you should forgive yourself for. Yes, it was exactly that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, look, I think these are very difficult questions to ask because it's like, I think a lot of people envision sitting in front of themselves in all different phases of their life and like trying to think, what would I say and what would they say back?
Yeah.
Like, if I could, look into my eyes at that age, and I just know that she was such a different woman, very much the same woman, but such a different woman, I think I would want to bring her some, I would want to bring her comfort in the fact that she knew that there was so much going on in her life, and she felt like, why am I constantly tripping over hurdles? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? I mean, I'm still an overthinker, as you and I have spoken about.
Yeah.
But I think these days I'm so much softer on myself. I allow myself grace, and I gift myself that, whereas she didn't. And so with progress, and this is something you and I have spoken about before, but with progress, there are so many hurdles. And the faster you are progressing, the faster you're evolving as a human being, the more hurdles you will face. And I'm so sorry, someone's calling me.
Oh, goodness.
Decline.
Oh, amazing. Yo! I feel so important.
Kgothi, I fucked this up. Okay, let me start again.
Okay.
I've got it. Okay. Now let's try and make this sound again.
Okay.
That's chill.
Cool.
Okay. Ask me the question. Let's go.
I mean, I'm recording, so I think people got the question. Okay. Actually, my premise the other day was, because both you and I are overthinkers, I think if we could... what did I say again? Oh, if our overthinking... Don't laugh, you. Hey,
This is the perfect example of us overthinking. Because we in that thought loop, that overthinking loop. That's like it goes like a hurricane, a spiral.
100%. I said.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You would say to me if I could sit in front of myself and ask give myself forgiveness for something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. What would I say? Oh, what would I say to this younger self, this younger version of me? And yeah, just keep in mind I've had 2 glasses of wine. But
yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. You know what? I wish you told me before. And I was going to be like, oh dude, let me quickly like catch up and let's talk.
Yes, fair enough, dude. Yeah, I mean, you and I we definitely need to chat over wine, because you also know when there's wine, these thoughts flow as well. But yeah. So
wait, can I just quickly tell you something? Quickly.
Yes.
Just
yes.
Quick. I remember when I was still chasing you, I bought a bottle of St. Clair, sent you the picture. And then I said something, I don't know, man. I said something cheesy like, how about you come meet your sister? I don't know, bro. Whatever.
Oh my God, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that picture. I remember you sending me that picture. Oh my gosh. My memory gets a point for that. I'm giving my memory a medal for that. I remember that exact thing. Yeah.
I bought St.
That.
Clair.
That's so
I was
funny.
like, yo,
I remember that. And these days we don't drink St. Clair anymore.
Nah.
You know, we're drinking bougier things now.
Nah, 100%.
Well,
the days of buying cheap wine are gone.
Yo, dude, we used to drink box wine. Don't even play around with St. Clair. We used to drink box wine. Now we're grown. I mean, we can't be buying that Lani wine all the time, but we can.
I'd like to
on the odd occasion, you know.
I'd like to relive those moments by just buying box wine and just getting drunk over cheap wine.
Yo, and you know at Rose they used to buy that crackling. Do you remember?
Yes. Yo.
What the fuck?
That thing...
And people used to crack bombs. They used to like drink that entire bottle, and it was massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Okay. Cool.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Sorry, going back to the question. When I'm going to face my younger self, I am arriving with that bottle of crackling. I'm putting it down the table. I'm pouring us both a glass.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her. And what I want to say to her is that, you know, I know you fucked up a lot. And you must sit with that, because a lot of those errors that you've made, you will digest them and you will think them through. And that is going to be part of your evolution to become me.
Yeah.
And she's going to look at me confused, because I was very skeptical back then. And I'm going to say to her, right, I need you to forgive yourself for X, Y, Z. And the reason being is because you're evolving so quickly and you're progressing so fast that the hurdles are arriving quicker than you can maybe take them on, which is fine. And you're going to get tripped up, and you're going to not do the right thing all the time. But that's just part of the growing pains. That's just part of the experience of life. And it doesn't stop. That's the other thing I need her to know. I think she thought, eventually it's going to stop. It doesn't stop. You have to just learn grace. You have to learn how do I find contentment within myself when this does happen? And how do I constantly learn from from those experiences, because you also can't repeat errors continuously, like that's not evolution either. And I think I would embrace her because she was very vulnerable. That girl was very vulnerable. Let me put that on the table now.
Yeah.
She was closed off to things because she was so scared of so much, like in terms of she was confident, but rejection and all sorts of things. Like she was worried that people would find her strange, and I am strange, this.
I like
people.
strange. I think for me, when I see strange, I'm like, ooh, yes. Ooh, yes.
But I feel like now we celebrate these things, and I think we did to an extent back then. I mean, even then, let's be honest, we were evolved from when we were as teenagers. I mean, teenagers, we're so fucking petrified of coming off in any way that's not uniform to literally everyone else. Being unique is not the vibe when you're a teenager. You want to kind of just blend into the background. But so I would just say, okay, just be weird. It's fine.
Yeah.
People will get used to it. Some people will love it. You'll connect. You will actually have much deeper bonds with people when you are so authentically yourself. And part of that is just being fucking strange.
Yeah.
And I would just tell her all these things and maybe just try and console her a little bit.
Yeah.
She would probably, be bewildered, but that's pretty much what I would tell her. Yeah.
Yeah, I think well put together, beautifully said, and like in like a very clear way, chaotic, but like beautifully said. Because I'm also...
Thanks, friend.
I'm also... Okay, buddy.
I know, I said friend endearingly. I'm like, thanks, friend.
Okay.
Carry on.
On that note,
yes.
While you busy speaking to University Claire, Kgothi walks in with a bottle of flying fish and says, listen here, University Claire, you should forgive yourself for fumbling the bag. And then University Claire's like, the bag? I'm like, yeah, the bag being me. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so you forgive her.
Do? Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I do. No, she should forgive herself first. Then I'll forgive later.
Okay.
But I think well put together. Then, if you recall, right, the very first few seconds of us recording the other day, I said,
yes.
Hi, Claire. Nicole says XYZ. And then I said,
yes.
All of this will make sense at the end of the episode.
Right.
And I said, okay, cool. Then it's your turn. Leave a random message for the next guest.
And then, yes. And we wanted to give a shout out because that was actually beautiful. I didn't know where it was going when you said that. So your last guest was very insightful. And this is directed to the next person you have on the show, right?
Yeah. And I actually spoke to her today.
Beautiful.
To check if she's still on board. But yeah.
I think what I want them to know is give yourself grace and give yourself permission to be exactly who you are. And I used to think that was corny. You can even include that when you read it out. I used to think that was corny.
Yeah.
But it's rooted in so much truth. Choose to see the world through your perspective, through everyone else's perspective, but ultimately always recenter yourself and go through life living your experience and not constantly altering yourself to fit within the confinements of what everyone else is expecting of you.
She's going to love this one. Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. Ach, my dear Claire, thank you for being so keen to do this again.
Of course.
I owe you crackling. That's what I owe you.
You owe me crackling,
Yeah.
Kgothi.
That's
And
right.
we're going to drink it together and we're going to reminisce and we're going to be like, what the fuck is this juice?
Nah.
But yeah, we're going to drink it. And thank you so much. You're an absolute treat. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. We might as well just fuck around, drink the crackling, and then record another episode.
I love it.
Right?
I love it. That's the plan.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
Let me go get
Okay.
ready for the Zoom meeting. All right.
Zing. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, cheers, dude.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.